Valerie.
Yo.
Should I stop the music?
I don't know. Yeah, okay.
All
We're
right,
short
cool.
on time.
One more time. It's your pals. This is the Professionals and Animal Lovers Show. And, this is actually a really special occasion tonight. I'll tell you. I'll tell you a quick story, everybody. I'm Tommy D. The Professionals and Animal Lovers Show is the name of this program. Valerie Heffron and we're building a community. We're building a society of people who are animal advocates, of people who are business professionals. Maybe they're retirees, maybe they don't work at all, but they love animals. They care about animals, and they're focused on doing three things with us: learning, educating, and advocating. I'm going to tell you a really quick story. It has to do with the animals. It also has to do with veterans. I sit on the board of an organization called Horseability out at the campus of SUNY Old Westbury. And I don't know, 4 months ago, Val, I'm at Horseability and I'm on the campus, and this guy that I know, he's a former trainer, now a retiree, and he works with the horses at Horseability. And I'm telling him what I'm doing, and I brought a friend of mine, my friend Irika, and I'm introducing her to Horseability. And he goes, Tommy, I see what you're doing. He goes, you need to meet Eileen Shanahan at the Warrior Ranch Foundation. So this is a Friday, right? So he tells me I need to meet Eileen. That evening, I go to the American Legion. They had a cornhole tournament. We're playing cornhole, right? I meet all these old time veterans, and I mean that. Like, these guys are in their 80s and 90s, and I end up becoming friends with all these guys. And they said, Tommy, we're raising a flag here for SAR flag, which is a recognized flag in this country now for the suicide and remembrance flag. And Robbie had told me, I couldn't think of his name. Robbie, the trainer, had told me I got to meet Eileen Shanahan. I meet the guys at the Legion. They said, can you come? We're raising this flag tomorrow. I said, sure, I'll be here. I'm standing there as they're raising the SAR flag in front of the American Legion. And to my left is Eileen Shanahan, a person I'd never heard of 9 hours, 12 hours earlier, who is now standing next to me. Eileen and I became friendly. Eileen comes on Philanthropy in Focus. She then subsequently comes on this here program, the Professionals and Animal Lovers Show. And she texted me a couple of weeks ago and she says, hey, I'm getting an award and honor from Canine Companions. I think it'd be cool. Can you connect with Dawn Alvarado? And et cetera, all these things start to happen. Dawn invites me, John Betzinger. Thank you, John, for putting this together as well. Dawn says, we're having a graduation. Can you come out to Medford for the graduation for the dogs? And I'm like, yeah, of course I can, because you asked me to. And that's kind of what I'm supposed to be doing, is kind of following where I'm getting drawn to. So before, Val's going to give us a little bit of a legislative update, but that's how all these things happen. I call myself the nonprofit sector connector. Valerie and I met through what else but networking. And that's how we do this. It's all about connecting. It's all about networking. And if it wasn't for, I'll tell you, it goes back further. If it wasn't for the Lindy Lou Foundation telling me they had a donation for Horseability in memory of my cousin Linda, ironically, my cousin's son Declan has a canine companion called Vinny. I don't know if you know that, if you all know that. Deborah and Alex know that story too. But my cousin Mickey tells me, I want you to make one of our donations, Tommy D. I want you to go meet Horseability. That's how I got to Horseability. And if I'm not at Horseability, do I ever get to Canine Companion? Val, I don't know. I mean, people ask me.
No, I have this feeling all the time, especially in the past year and change, really, since we started doing the show. And we're meeting like the most incredible people. But also, I just feel that, like, for the first time, I really, really feel that everything that has happened in the past, like, I ran networking events for 11 years. Okay. That's how you and I met. And like, we're like pooling our skill sets, and like you're saying, whatever direction you're getting pushed to, it's kind of like a tap on the shoulder, but like all of these things are converging. And we decided to do the first annual Compassion Awards, and we're recognizing these brilliant, amazing people so dedicated to the animals. We're doing our own little awards thing, and it's just going to continue to grow.
How many ripples came out of that night that we don't even know about, right? That
right. This is like a very mission-driven mission, for lack of a better term. Wow, that was terrible. Mission-driven mission. I don't know, but I get it. I get that feeling all the time too. Like, wow, I am really meant to be doing this.
Right.
So okay, so listen, I don't want to take too much time away from, I want to, hold on, oh, wait. I don't want to take too much time away from what we're about to do. But I do have to mention this one thing. I was going to do two, but one can wait till next week. So I just want to mention that the legislative update is as follows, okay? There was a couple last year who was indicted for animal abuse, and it says, I'll read the headline: Mineola man, which is where I went to high school, and Mineola, New York man sentenced for beating 2 puppies to death and injuring a third. And I should say, I'll jump into their headline, severely injuring a third. Okay. This guy pled guilty, and his punishment is 1 year, in jail. And we all know that that will probably be reduced because that's what happens. And also, of course, they're saying that he won't be able to own a pet for 50 years, which I have no idea who's enforcing that. But ultimately, my voice right now on behalf of the animals is that I'm going to ask every animal lover to look up Bella's bill. That's B as in boy, ELLA''S bill, which was proposed in 2019. We need to get this legislation passed because it proposes an overhaul of New York's outdated animal cruelty laws, allowing for stronger sentences for animal cruelty, which I believe we can all agree needs to happen. So,
yeah, we talked about it this afternoon, and you know, I said it before, we do 3 things on the show because I didn't know what you're talking about. I did see on News 12 this man walking out with his wife, walking out of the courthouse or whatever. And of course, I can't think of anything but you when I see that conversation. And, you know, what you taught me is these laws are falling under agriculture, not the penal code. So that's why they're being addressed a certain way. Had it fallen under the penal code, there could be different ramifications, different punishment, whatever. So we need to learn, we need to educate, we need to advocate, right? Voters for voiceless, right? Without the voices, they don't have voices. We got to advocate on their behalf. That's what this is about. So this is P.A.L's Professionals and Animal Lovers show. Without further ado, Val, you know what's great about this show now? We don't have
commercials.
There's no commercials. We don't have to take any breaks anymore. We get to do whatever we want, however we want. It's just we always did what we wanted, but it's even more now. Alex Hutchinson, Deborah McKenzie, without further ado, welcome to the Professionals and Animal Lovers show. We're jazzed. I got to go to the graduation, as I said. Shout out to Eileen Shanahan. I know you have a big event coming up this Wednesday night, honoring some folks, some veterans, and Eileen. Take us back. I mean, this organization's been around longer than I have. I think 1975 is when the organization started. So Deborah, you're on the development side for the organization, correct? And Alex, you're a trainer working with these companions. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. Yeah.
Oh, you're a trainer.
You just made Debbie's used to hearing that. Oh, you're a trainer comment.
I get to love on the puppies too. So.
Yes,
it's a great job.
Deborah, they can't train if you don't bring in the dough, right? They can't train.
Exactly.
We need the program side and the development side, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Where do we start? Where do we want to start?
So I think, as Valerie said, she just heard about the organization a couple months ago. So why don't we start by educating people who we are, like how long we've been around for.
Yeah.
So if I can just kind of go forward with that.
Right.
So the Canine Companions started in 1975 in Santa Rosa, California. We're the oldest and the largest service dog organization in the country, where it was started in a garage, and there was a need for service dogs for individuals with disabilities. So that it started there.
Oh no. Is this not the worst tech night? Oh my God.
Well, listen, I'll while we wait for Deborah to come back, I will tell you this. Many great organizations have started in a garage. We know that, I mean, my friend Ken Cerini and Associates, he started his accounting practice in a garage. I understand Google might have started in a garage, and I know Microsoft did. And Deborah's back. I was killing some time. Deborah, welcome back.
Sorry, I don't know why. It's saying that my internet connection is unstable at this time.
It's just the worst tech night ever. Somebody put a little
I'm unstable right now, so don't worry about it. It's all good.
Yeah, so if I happen to pause again, feel free to kind of fill it in. But started in a garage in Santa Rosa, California, when there was a need for service dogs for people with disabilities other than blindness. So in 1989, the Northeast region was born on the SUNY Farmingdale campus. And then we moved to our 39,000 square foot facility out in Medford, New York, the Miller family campus. So we've been around since 1989, and a lot of people say that, you know, I've never heard about Canine Companions. I've lived here all my life. So we want to make sure that people are aware of our services. We place service dogs for children ages 5 and up with disabilities. With the help of a parent or guardian. We place dogs, service dogs in facilities like rehab centers, the court system, place service dogs for adults, and of course, veterans with disabilities as well, and also with post-traumatic stress disorder. And we place hearing dogs. So there's several categories, and we do this all free of charge. So, you know, it's very important that, you know, fundraisers, like you mentioned, that we're having on Wednesday, go towards our mission and goes towards our operational need. And our, you know, our annual budget's quite high at $3.4 million. So we
So hold on a second, is that this Wednesday?
This Wednesday, yes.
This Wednesday, can you
Well,
just give
Salute, yeah, so it's called Salute Independence. It's happening at the Inn at New Hyde Park, where we, where Eileen Shanahan will be getting the Colonel E. David Voisick Jr. And Mateus Ferreira Outstanding Service Award. And what we do is we honor each category of war. It's getting harder and harder, unfortunately, to you know, to honor the World War II veterans, because they're getting, you know, up there in age. But we have Dominic Critelli. If you look him up and you look him up online, he is a World War II veteran. He's 100, and he will be playing the national anthem on his saxophone.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I would die. I would already be crying. I have such a soft spot for the greatest generation ever. And I also have a soft spot for the national anthem. Like, I can't go to a sporting event without crying. I'm just like, it's just so beautiful, you know. But forget about the doggy graduation stuff.
Dude, you would have lost.
I would just die. I would die.
Would have lost. I'm sitting there and I'm emotional with the dogs graduating the whole thing. I'm like, God, she would be a puddle on the ground.
I would be such a, they'd have to carry me out.
Yeah.
So hold on one second. I just want to go back to one, because something caught my attention that I hadn't heard of before.
Sure.
So when you said that you have service dogs that sometimes go into the courts, what does that look like? Who are they servicing, and who actually like owns the dog? Like, I'm assuming the, you know, when the courts are closed, the dog's not sleeping on the floor there, right?
Right. So let's, I'll let Alex talk about our facility placements in the court system. We'll give Alex a little airtime there.
Well, thank you. That's very gracious.
Welcome.
So yeah, Debbie mentioned a few of our categories. I can just take it back a few steps for you. So, you know, we have a 5-step application process where a person has to not only demonstrate the need for a dog, but also the ability to properly care for the dog and be in line with our programs, guidelines, rules, and regulations. So there's always a person at the heart of it that is interviewing with us, phone interviews, in-person interviews, medical records, etc. So unfortunately, we are not able to accept everyone that applies to our program for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is, you know, our program is very specific in how our dogs are trained and raised and what our expectations are. We have highly trained dogs, and we expect that when they are out in public, that they act as an appropriate service dog, as well as, you know, we can't accept everyone that applies to our program because we just don't have the resources. We continue to grow, we continue to expand our resources, but the need is always greater than what we can fulfill. So with that being said, getting back to facility dogs, an individual within a facility will apply. And they will apply with the backing and the support of their facility. So it would be one person who would be in a primary role where they can take the dog to work with them, work with the dog in the facility, as well as bring the dog home with them, and incorporate them into their family and their home life. So if a person applies at a facility, say a courthouse, they would be the individuals who are perhaps working with victims. So the way that our dogs are incorporated in settings like that is, especially children, if you can imagine, witnesses to a crime, being victims of a crime. All of a sudden you're meeting strangers. You have to talk about these things. So oftentimes they're just unable to do so.
Adults oftentimes can't even do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right. So everything I'm saying applies to children, you know, more intensely probably, and then adults as well. So what our dogs do in those situations, sometimes just walking to a room will change the mood, shift the child's slightly state of mind, and they'll start to open up because they'll either feel safer with the presence of a dog or start talking to the dog itself. Just feel more comfortable giving that information. Their handler is present, the interviewer is present there with the dog. And then that carries over where our dogs actually have been known to sit in the testimony box, unseen by the jurors and people in court, to provide additional comfort for the person who's testifying. So that gives them not only the courage and the comfort to tell their story initially, but to testify in a court about what has happened, what they've witnessed.
Because so they have their unconditional friend with them.
Yes.
And so it's a sense of like, I've got your back.
I've got your back. I'm there with you. I've whispered my story to you, you know, a few times. You're here. I feel safe.
Yeah. Oh my
God. So the dog sits there quietly. The jury never knows that the dog is present. And we've heard several times that prosecutors have told us that they don't believe that child or the person would be able to have testified without the intervention of the dog.
I believe it. I absolutely
literally, you know, affecting the life of that young person or that adult, but really, if they wouldn't be able to testify, totally the animal is affecting the outcome of
domino effect
of a case. And if that person was unable to testify, maybe there's not a case. Like this is like really, you know, severe situations, like real impact.
Maybe there's not a case. Then if there's not a case, maybe there's further victims. It's a trickle down effect. It's a domino effect. We do feel like our facility dogs are very special in that they have the ability to affect the lives of so many because they are in populations. So our dogs may go into schools with, you know, marginalized communities. They may go into physical rehab centers, and they are, while our service dogs, our hearing dogs, things like that, are assisting an individual, which is, you know, impactful in itself. Our facility dogs are on a daily basis impacting the lives of several people continuously.
Where do they live? So those facility dogs, they're like, if I'm thinking, I'm seeing a courtroom because that's where we've gone with this conversation, but I'm assuming there's other sorts of facilities.
For sure.
So who do they come back to headquarters at the end of the day? I mean, I'm kind of being cute.
Same thing as courthouse. So if you have an occupational therapist, and we actually have some videos online, we might be able to explore a little bit. But say a person is having had a spinal cord injury, for instance, and they're doing balance work with their occupational therapist, we can actually incorporate the tasks that dogs have learned throughout their training within our organization to help with the actual rehabilitation of patients. So that's one thing. There's also, hello. And good night, guys. I hope you.
What is happening tonight?
Good night, Alex. It was great.
I know what's going to happen next. I'm going to turn into that cat filter is going to go on, and I'm going to look like I'm a cat. That talks.
That was it. You remember that? The attorney. I'm not a cat. I'm an attorney. I'm not a cat.
I promise you, I'm not a cat.
Alex is gonna go hit the timer. I guess you
I
can.
will be
I
back.
guess you
All right,
timed
Alex.
out. Go ahead,
All
Alex.
right. I will say this. When my mother was in a rehab, because she was recovering from a pretty tough accident, I spoke with them and they said, you know, you can bring in your pet and you just have to show us up to date on rabies, whatever. So I brought in my dog, and it was almost impossible to even get to her room because all of these seniors were there, and you know, they're coming over and they want to pet him. And this one woman in particular in a wheelchair, I felt so badly for her. She did not want to like let him leave, you know? So it was, and then what I found fascinating was that my dog, he's like 20 pounds. So I went to visit my mom. My mom had a fractured ankle, which was underneath the covers. And so I put Jovi in the bed next to her, and, you know, she's petting him, scratching his head and all of that. And after he said hello to her, he went right over, he went right over and laid right next to her her fractured ankle. And he as gently as imaginably, you can't imagine how gentle it was. He put his head right on top of the cast where her broken ankle was.
He didn't know.
It's like he knew. I know.
Yeah.
That was another tearful moment, puddle mush, whatever. But I mean, these dogs are just incredible and they really lift people's spirits. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's true. And, Tommy asked that they live, if it's an occupational therapist, they get permission from, the rehab center to be able to have that dog inside the rehab center. And then at the end of the day or their shift, they'll go home with the dog and they'll live with the dog. So it doesn't come, the dog doesn't come back to the center. The dog actually has a handler that the dog will live with.
Right.
Does that handler work for Canine Companions, or they're like their own entity and they just, so there's so many different like facets of this. I mean, we're really just, that's facility dogs. Then there's, the obvious one that at least, again, maybe it stands out and obvious for me because we've talked about it and I got to go to graduation last week, but the companion dog. And then we talked about it earlier when a dog doesn't finish and qualify through the entire process of training and then ends up, what do we call that dog again?
We call it a change of career dog. Right. So, all of our dogs are born within 90-mile radius of our Santa Rosa, California headquarters. And then at 8 weeks old, and we have volunteer breeder caretakers that take them into their home and whelp them in their home. And
I would volunteer for that.
You would have been so impressed. I mean, like I met this couple as they were leaving. Were you both there, Deborah and Alex? Were you both at graduation?
Yeah, we were running the show.
You were, okay. So
I actually was not. I was busy with dogs. I was surrounded by dogs.
What an excuse! What an excuse! Yeah,
I know, right?
I will tell you, I met this couple. I believe they're from Virginia or DC, both Air Force veterans. And I had a moment with them as we were leaving, and the woman and their two children were there with them, and she read, Val, they were trying to, I think a common misconception or a concern, maybe a better way to say it, is people go, well, how could you raise a dog for 18 to 24 months and then give it up? And there's this just compassion and love that these handlers or what do you call them? The raisers or the fosters?
Volunteer puppy raisers.
Volunteer puppy raisers. Their answer, and this woman especially, her answer, and I have recorded the whole thing. I mean, my phone is always full of videos and pictures because I can't help myself. But she was talking about the love and compassion that they had for this animal, and knowing, and she talked about their community and how the community came out and they loved this dog, and it was like a local hometown hero. And then it was almost like they couldn't see anything else but to give the dog back so the dog could be with somebody who needed it. And we talk ripple effect all day on this show, but like it was so special. I mean, I don't know if I could share that video one day. If I'm allowed to, I'll reach out to that woman and ask her, because it was very poignant. Well, you all recorded the whole thing, I think, as well, right? The graduation.
Right. Yeah, you can go on the YouTube and go Canine Companions, and you can look at see the graduation from Friday. She was also the puppy raiser speaker, so I believe she had Carolina. Is that right, Alex? Carolina, she raised and was placed.
I don't want to misspeak and say that, so I'm not certain. I apologize, guys. Again, I was playing with dogs. I was playing with dogs.
Yeah. Regardless.
Carolina was on the floor next to me. This young couple, I think they were there representing the parents or something like that.
But regardless of the name of the dog, fostering is one of the most difficult. I know a woman who recently finally got her foster dog adopted after 3 years. Now, obviously, it's a different shelter dog, but that said, you know, Tommy likes to joke with me. I have a bearded dragon named Elliot. Elliot was named after the dragon in Pete's Dragon, the cartoon movie from, you know, Disney like a million years ago. But the whole point is that dragon was around and stuck by this one child, and he was like neglected and all of that. And then he found a happy home, and he made sure that he was able to stay there. And then at the end of the movie, he's like saying goodbye to Pete's dragon. And Pete was upset, like, why are you leaving and all of that? And the message was, because there's other kids who need me, right? So that gets me every time. That's another, I'll cry at that movie any day.
Is that a kid's movie?
Yeah. Oh, you've never seen it?
No.
One of my favorite love songs of all time is on that soundtrack, Candle on the Water. Okay, so
the volunteer puppy raisers, and you know, Tommy met some of them, and I hope that Val, one day you can come to graduation. We do have
I have to go to a puppy graduation
in Florida, so that might be a shorter trip for you down to Florida. But you know, they're the core of our program. We could not do what we do and the amazing work that we do without our volunteers, and the canine community is just so amazing. And you know, it proved to be even more amazing during COVID, and how everybody just pitched in to make sure that we were able to continue to serve, because a lot of the placements, you know, a lot of our graduates, that's what we call people that receive our service dogs, they had aides, or you know, aides that couldn't come in anymore. So having a service dog by their side to assist them, you know, when they didn't have aides come in during that time, was just you know, amazing to hear, you know, that we were able to put this amazing service in the lives to help them each day. So
can you speak to a little bit about, like, it's a mind-blowing number, right? It says something along the lines of like the cost and the value or whatever of one of these dogs is basically like $50,000, which is like, whoa. But then when you think about it, you know, obviously this is a specific breed, bred to have a specific like demeanor and learning capabilities. And I know obviously like vet care and training is included, but can we go through the timeline? So, okay, a wonderful puppy is born. 8 weeks later, it goes into a wonderful home, hopefully like mine, to be a puppy raiser.
I'll send you the application when we're done.
Okay. And then I know I'll be denied right now because I have a dog and 2 cats already. But anyway, but
you can actually that won't get you denied. Nice try.
Oh, okay.
No,
good try. Good try. We're not gonna let you off on that one.
Okay.
Well, trying to get denied. Barry's trying to get denied, maybe.
I'm so glad we're not live right now, so my husband can't be like, no.
But yeah, we could take you through the timeline. So as I mentioned, the puppies are born at 8 weeks old. They're sent to the volunteer puppy raisers, and the volunteer puppy raisers have them in their homes for 16 to 18 months. Where they will teach them basic commands, and also most importantly is teach them, you know, socialize them in public settings, like, you know, restaurants, malls, going on a plane, going on a train, bus. So exposing them to all types of environments so that they have a good base for when they come to our professional training center, and work with our instructors and take those basic commands and turn them into, you know, advanced commands, like picking up dropped items off the floor, opening and closing doors, turning on and off lights. So you know, Alex can attest to this because Alex just got her string. So basically what happened at graduation on Friday is not only did 6 people graduate with their service dogs, but we received how many? 32 dogs?
Actually 25 this time.
Oh, 25. So
25.
25 dogs. 25 dogs came to our training facility, and the volunteer puppy raisers dropped them off on Friday. So Alex just received her string, or is receiving her string, and they just went through their temperament testing today.
You call it a string, like a sewing string?
Yeah,
I don't know how we
Canine
came up with that.
Companions
Yeah.
I call that like, it's like a baseball team.
I only got 5. I've only got 5.
Oh,
I want to, Alex, if you could, sorry to interrupt there. I want to understand something because I had the opportunity to see people progressing through this profession. And a lot of what we talk about, the professionals and animal lovers show are, and I have one of these, well, I have 4 children, but one of them I think will be enamored with doing this type of work.
Yes.
Career to get paid to actually do this and make such an impact. So there was a young lady who had just I want to say her name was Winona, but I don't think that was her name, but I think it was
her name, probably.
Is her
Yes.
name? Okay.
Yes.
I wasn't sure. And she had just graduated, or not graduated, but promoted, I guess, that day.
Sure.
So can you talk about this from a career perspective? Like,
oh, great question.
I love dogs. I want to be with dogs my whole life, but I want to make an impact. Like, what would that look like?
For sure. So have to have a love for dogs, right? And you also have to have a love for people, right? Because it's dogs helping people. I started many years ago. I initially started in California, but you can actually start in one of our 6 regions across the United States. You'll start off as an instructor's assistant, and that's basically just learning the basics about dogs in our organization. That's kind of an initiation, right? You're going to groom dogs. You're going to interact with them.
You're going to scoop some poop. Let's be honest.
Scoop some poop. That is actually probably the majority of your dogs, but that's okay. That's okay. That's your job.
Well, because once you elevate, you don't have to scoop poop anymore, right? Like once.
No, I just scooped poop right before I came in here.
Oh man,
like 10 years.
Come on, Alex. I thought you rank up. I thought it was like in a video game, you level up.
Let me tell you something. You will never, if you're working with dogs in any capacity, you will never stop scooping poop. That's just it.
They must laugh at us. The dogs must laugh at us. Oh, you're so cool. You walk on 2 legs, right?
Big trainer, big trainer.
Pick up my poop. Now pick up my poop.
Right. My poop. I pooped over there. Yes, pretty much how it goes down.
Hey, Alex, I left something there for you.
Right. I know it's your lunch break, but you'll have to wait a few minutes.
I'm dying over here.
So then you're promoted to an apprentice instructor, and there are 3 phases of being an apprentice instructor. Throughout those 3 different phases, you just basically have to demonstrate your knowledge of our organization and our training methods, as well as dogs as a whole, right? The psychology of dogs, the care of dogs, the mindset of dogs. And as you move up in the ranks, you're moving up because you're acquiring knowledge, not only for training, but just the overall care and handling dogs, as well as, remember, we have the people aspect of it too, right? So we're not just isolated to dogs and dog training. We also have to move over into people training. So people that come for our dogs, we don't just interview them, like I said, for, the 5 steps. Once they are accepted into our organization, we then have to train them how to work with our dogs and to be a successful service dog recipient. So they come and they live with us at our wonderful facility. They live with us. They live with us.
There's dorms, right? Like
dormitories, yes.
Family, like if a young person, I keep saying young person, but I know it isn't. And that was proven to me on Friday when I was at graduation. It isn't just young people that get these dogs. It's people who have different needs, different abilities.
It's all ages. Absolutely. It is all ages, 5 and up. 5 and up. And when I say up, I mean all the way up.
Sure.
Wait a minute. Okay, so you could have a 5-year-old dorming at your facility?
Well, here's the thing. So they are permitted to start the application process at 5 years old. So by
Okay.
the time they actually receive the dog, they're usually 6 or a little bit older. But the thing about receiving a dog when you are under 18 years of age, you have the recipient, which is a child, can be a child, but we have a parent or a guardian or someone else who is an adult who is in charge of the dog. So the child doesn't manage and care for and handle a dog solo or on its own. There's always an adult there that actually.
But I'm saying, like, you put them up, you put them up in your facility.
We do.
Whole
Absolutely.
family.
Wow.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
I did not know that, and that is incredible. Actually, how many dorm rooms do you have?
So right now we have 11, and Debbie, I'll let Debbie jump in here.
So we currently have 11, and because of you know, how the organization is growing, we are going to be starting a capital campaign where we will be putting on a second floor. And we have an amazing donor that's gonna help with that. And also, you know, with that comes expansion of the kennels. So we're going to be expanding to an additional 14 kennels as well.
So
we
let's
have
shout
a
that
lot
out.
of growth coming up.
So I want to just give it, that's an opportunity to shout out the website. It's an opportunity to shout out the capital campaign. Let's be honest, we're a nonprofit organization, right? So what do we, so can you talk to that really quick and maybe talk about Wednesday night? That's my train. I have to go in a second because that's my.
I think you missed it.
Listen, the Islanders will wait for you.
No, it kept going. The train just kept going. So I got. So tell us about the capital campaign raise.
Sure. So if anybody is interested in coming for a tour of the facility, seeing the facility and hearing about our capital, you didn't come up for a tour. You have to come for a tour.
No, because it was like the graduation started, I think, at 12:30. And by the time it was done, it was like 2:00. And I was
okay.
I can't. Deborah, I cannot do it all.
You can't do it all.
I try.
And you don't have any room on your phone to like record the tour either.
No, I'm gonna buy a new phone. I'll just buy
but the facility, you know, it's funny, we have groups that come out to the facility and they think that they're going to come to, you know, maybe a small center with some kennels connected, but we are a 39,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility, which is growing. I mean, our north central region, which is located in Ohio, just rebuilt their center. They were the only center that did not have dormitories, and they just did a huge capital campaign, and they did their grand opening last year, and that's an amazing facility. So when we were on the SUNY Farmingdale campus, even though we didn't charge for our dogs, which again costs about $50,000 from the time they're born until the time that they retire, which is about the age of 12, depending on what kind of work that dog does, there are just, the facility is just accessible. It is, you know, everything that they need. We talk to them prior to them coming to stay with us, to see what their needs are. We want them, it's an extensive 2 weeks of training that they go through, and we want to make sure that they are set up for success. We want to make sure that they have every comfort of home. We have foundations just like the Dana and Christopher Reeve Foundation that you know, we applied for, and we got new bedding because some of the results from our survey is, it was, you know, in the beginning when we first moved in 2008, great facility, but the beds are awful. You know, so we applied to the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. They provided all new mattresses. So, you know.
So you guys you apply for grants and you're aware of a lot of grants that are available. Okay, good. Because I know, I know, since we're on the cusp of 2023, I know that actually New York Ag and Markets will usually have like some kind of a companion animal, maybe grant. They have different grants for different things, but I don't know if that's on your radar. I just want to make sure, because I think personally that grant funding in general is incredibly underutilized, and there's a lot of money out there. People just, you know, have to apply, but it sounds like you're on it. And I know, so that's 2 weeks. Hold on one second. That's 2 weeks. If I'm a potential recipient, I'm coming to live with you. I'm assuming there maybe is like a community kitchen or something like that. And
so there's a community kitchen, and we have volunteers because there's only an hour break for lunch. We have volunteers that come and either, you know, provide donations for us to bring in lunch. There's people and there's groups like, you know, like the DAR, Daughters of American Revolution. They're coming on the they're coming on the 9th, I think, to help serve lunch. You know, they'll bring baked goods. So yeah, they just have to come out of training and go right into our bistro, what we call Bogey's Bistro, and the food is ready for them and prepared for them so they can relax for that hour.
Okay, here's the thing. My friend Valerie, so I'm on a campaign to do 60 days of service. So my friend Valerie, she likes to post pictures of her cuisine that she makes on the Facebook or on the Meta.
I do. I'm one of those annoying people.
So what I'm thinking is, can we come there and prepare a meal for these folks? We'll bring the food, bring the whole thing. Valerie will chef it out. Can we do that? You don't have to answer right now because I don't want to put you on the spot. But
yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, I would love to do that. That is such a good idea, Tammy.
January, we'll do it.
Yeah, February. I don't know what classes start in February, but we have 4 graduations. So what Tommy came to in November, 4 of our major graduations happen in February, May, August, and November. So they're all on the calendar. I'm going to send you all a puppy calendar, so it has all the dates on there, and you know when you should be coming or calling us to.
Well, I want to do anything, even if I got to scoop poop. You know, I'll scoop poop.
Oh, you have to scoop poop.
I have to listen. Poor kids, man. I'm used to scooping poop. But look, I'll tell you this. I know you got something, Val. I want to say one thing. Like when we first show we ever did, Professionals and Animal Lovers show back in September 1st of 2021, we had our friend from Camp Happy Tales NYC, Regina Mendoza. And then I went out and did day 9 of 60 days of service with my son. And I will tell you, we scooped a bunch of poop. But I will tell you though, it's that's what goes on, you know, when you want to get in the trenches and you want to make an impact. It's that sort of stuff that you do. Val, go ahead.
Got to start somewhere. No, so what was my thought? Oh no, did I lose it? Okay. So getting back to actually the young man that also resides with you, or one of the other young men that resides with you, Tommy.
Yes.
How old do you have to be able to integrate into one of your programs? Like just as a volunteer, obviously, you know, if someone's a minor, if they're gonna maybe go with their parent or something, like how old to get started?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, I mean, we've had a variety of different ages. We've had Boy Scout troops that have done projects. Some of our volunteering is either like on site, but we also have people that volunteer, kind of do their thing, build things for us, make things for us, bring it into the facility because it's something that we could utilize. I'm not exactly sure if we have an age limit, but we.
I think it's 12.
If you can contribute something, I mean, you know what?
That's smart.
You gotta start them young, right? I actually don't know the actual specific, but we're always open to conversations about what someone can provide, parental guidance there. And then we have to also talk about, you know, what our needs are and, you know, and where we are as an organization.
But they could even do other things like that might not be on campus, so to speak. But this young man, and I appreciate and love you, Valerie, because, you know, I hate to say the kid on the show.
So you've got someone in mind. Let me change my answer then.
He's
12.
12 is definitely a thumbs up.
Yeah, he'll be 12. He's 11 now, so I figured I'd hold back a little bit. But that's the thing. Like, we're big on that. We're big on getting involved, and you know, I didn't even know I was big on it until the last couple of years. And I realized, you know, when my other guy, when he's 7 and he goes, "Hey, Dad, when are we going to do the next day of service?" I basically start crying because I'm like, "Wow."
More crying.
Like, there really is no age limit. I mean, you know, there's several different opportunities that are available, you know, from puppy raising, which would be a great start for him, or for your
yes, it would.
young man that we're speaking about to get
my heart. Oh my God.
Because and it's great because there's 2 of our instructors, and there's a lot of instructors across the country that started out as volunteer puppy raisers, and now they work for the organization.
I can see that, sure.
You know, even we have our caretaker, Bonnie, who raised 20 plus dogs for us. And then when she retired as a teacher, she moved from Virginia, and she's now an employee and caretaker of the organization. That's awesome. So that's just how impactful the organization is, that people just want to continue to give of themselves, and we couldn't be more grateful. So yeah, there's opportunities. They can start a DIY fundraiser on canine.org, and that's not K and the number 9, it's CANINE.org. They can start a DIY fundraiser. We have people that do mitzvah projects for us as well. There is also our Dog Fest events. So our Dog Fest events are community-based events. They happen, there's one on Long Island, and that took place this year in September at Marjorie Post Park in Massapequa.
Oh, sure. You know,
That
well,
will be happening again next year. So it's start a team, set a goal for yourself, share, fundraise up to it. And all that money is operational money and goes back into the program. So, if, that's
lots of ways to get involved. And, I have to go back to the money for 1 second, because I just think it's amazing. Like, I'm not going back, it's not an interrogation thing, but it's more of like, you guys are doing amazing things with the dollar value associated for each dog, right? So
Right.
if I'm understanding this, so a dog will, obviously you have the volunteer puppy raisers that also, puppies have to be transported, right, to get to where they want to go. Then there's the training. And then, am I correct in saying that when a dog is placed and they graduate and they go home with their person, right? That the care and the food, or the support continues?
No, the individual that receives our dogs will care for that dog. If there's any type of extreme circumstances
Okay.
where there's, some type of vet care that they can't absorb or financially absorb, we
Okay.
have amazing supporters. So one of our supporters is Dean Kuntz, the author. And
Oh, Plum Island,
yeah,
right?
so they
Oh,
have
no, that's DeVille. Sorry. I've read, go ahead, I'm sorry.
oh, Nelson DeVille. Yeah, he's also supported the organization.
it's your show. You're allowed to make mistakes, Valerie. Don't.
I know, but I hate, it's like such a pet peeve when I get like an author or a singer wrong, and I can picture the covers of his books, and I just said the wrong one. All right, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so he has what they call the Trixie Fund. So the Trixie Fund was set up after a dog that he received from Canine Companions as a change of career dog, or a release dog as we call it.
Yeah.
And he set up the Trixie Fund. So say if we have a graduate or a recipient or a client that has extreme circumstances, say, the dog gets cancer and the medical bill is $5,000, we have a vet staff out at our headquarters that will evaluate the recommendations of the veterinarian that's local, and advise on the care. And Alex can speak to it more if Alex, if I'm misspeaking at all.
Alex, I just was going to say, Val, these are our people. This is our
Yeah,
tribe.
I know.
It's about bringing these people
I know.
together, both business, and the nonprofit sector. Alex, make a point about that. Deborah set you up for something. I interrupted. I don't know if you even remember what we were going to talk about there, but what was it, Deborah?
We were talking about when the dog goes to the recipient or the client. Where is the care? Do we continue to pay for the care of the dog? No, but we do maintain ownership of that dog until that dog retires. So any support that they need, and they're going to need testing, I'm going to have Alex kind of get into once a person or a client graduates with our dogs. You can explain that further, Alex.
So one of the great things about our organization is, we don't, ship off a dog once a person has graduated, and that's we don't sever that relationship. We do provide ongoing support for the graduate team for their lifetime. And that benefits everyone in the equation, right? So we are receiving vet visits reports every year. We want to know the weight of the dog, the health of the dog. This kind of spills over into what Debbie was talking about. If there is a severe medical instance where caring for the dog is some kind of hardship, our first go-to is to support the graduate. And we'll do that in any way that we can. So that's one aspect of it, but we support the graduates for the duration or lifetime of that placement. So we require our graduates to test with us, to basically show us. We do a Assistance Dogs International Test, where we meet up with a graduate and we take them through a series of tasks that the dogs have been trained to perform out in a public space. In this way, we can evaluate if the dog is being an appropriate service dog. We can evaluate the handler. And we can offer any support that they may need, refresher courses, support and things like that. So we do that periodically, whether it's every year or every 3 years. We do require that our graduates see us in person so that we can have eyes on all of our teams out there in the world. Like Debbie said, we do maintain ownership of our dogs through their lifetime until they are either released from our program or if they are retired.
It's a relationship, and you're basically nurturing your alumni and
Absolutely.
making sure that you're there like as a support system. And I just want to mention this one point. I recognize that we have to wrap it up soon, which I hate because it kills me every time that we have to come to a close. But the ultimate objection and everything of what we're doing here, casting a light on people who are doing great things for animals. So it's ironic to me because I'm sitting here saying, you said Dean Koontz, and I'm sitting here saying, I know I've read some of his books, but you know what? Knowing now that he has supported your organization literally makes me want to run out and buy all of his books, whatever books I haven't read. And if I've even read them, I want to reread them because of who he is as a person supporting this wonderful cause. And that's kind of the gist.
Yeah,
Our theory is that when people are animal lovers doing good things for animals, we all want to just support each other any way we can, right?
Yeah, it's true. And, another huge supporter of the organization, we have so many, and it's, I don't have time to mention it, but is Jean Schultz. So Charles Schultz's wife, Jean Schultz.
Snoopy?
Yeah.
Snoopy.
Yep. In fact,
I feel like running. I'm gonna run into my
She's gonna go run my
blanket. I'm the biggest Snoopy fan. I have a Snoopy mug. I'm all about Snoopy.
Yeah, in fact, she just put a short film together for us that's is Emmy nominated and will be released and is going through a huge amount of film festivals. It's called Andy a Dog's Tale. It's called Andy a Dog's Tale, and you can look it up. You can just get a sneak peek on YouTube with the trailer, but as soon as it does its run, probably next year, the whole version, I think it's like 8 minutes, will be coming out. So
we should go to a festival and see it. That's what we should all do.
Yeah, you should go.
I would
there
love
was
to do
just
that.
one too. Yeah, we'll give you a list. So
Yeah,
go
let's
on
do
our
that.
website. So I'm gonna can I do my plug now?
You can. I just want to say, I wish I had something to sell. And then I would say I'm a supporter of Canine Companions, because then Valerie would buy stuff from me, because it seems to be how we get money out of her.
Oh, right.
Well, actually, you are a supporter. Even though you're new to the organization, you are a supporter of the organization because you're allowing us to tell people that we're here. You're allowing us the opportunity to reach people that we might not be able to reach. So thank you for inviting.
We will attempt to spread that message as much as
Before
possible.
you do the thing about salute independence,
Sure.
if my cousin Michael Cunningham doesn't tell me to go see Horseability, right, all these years ago, Katie McGowan, and then et cetera, all the way to Eileen Shanahan, who connected me to your organization, none of this happens, right? So it's all goes back to, and that's in memory of my cousin Linda, who passed about 10 years ago, and Linda had special needs. So that's the Lindy Lou Foundation, a big circle of life. So actually, the legacy of this whole thing, even this connection right here, comes from Linda Cunningham. Like, just
Horseability used to attend our Dog Fest events in the past too.
Whatever you want to do,
we know
we'll do.
Horseability.
Whatever. Katie McGowan and I are very close, so I'm on the board. Let us know. So tell us about the event, and then we will draw to a close.
Yeah, sure. So if anybody is interested in coming out for a tour of the facility, if you have a Girl Scout troop, Boy Scout troop, school, anything that we can do, if you haven't heard about the organization, you want to learn more, call us. You can give us a call at 631-561-0200. Speak with
Hold on a second.
us.
I'm really sorry to interrupt you. I can't help it, but just a really quick question, and I won't divulge why, but I just have to know, do you guys ever host events on site?
Yes, actually, we plan on having one in December. So it's
you can have it indoors, and it can be catered or whatever.
Yes, actually, we're looking for a caterer for our December event. So
we'll
connect.
All right. Well, we could try to connect you with that, but I think I'm just going to blurt it out. I think you might be the location of an upcoming Compassion Awards. Maybe you might be in the running for the maybe 23 or 24 Compassion Awards, because we are looking for a partner. And I don't know. I'm just gonna.
I want it to be different. I just
Yeah.
I don't want it to be like at a catering hall or whatever.
Listen,
whatever.
absolutely. We have, again, a huge facility. We have a long room that I think the capacity is probably, if we do COVID restrictions, we could probably get 100 in there. And then we have a full service kitchen. So, we look to have, Chamber of Commerce's come out, use our facility.
This is how we run a show. You're in the middle of pitching and we totally interrupt you. I don't even think you finished the phone number. Totally interrupt you and go on tangent for 6
I can't help it. My mind just blew
No,
up.
because that's why this show is insane, because we're both the same. It's like, oh my God, I gotta say it now. I must say these words. These words must come out of my
Listen,
face.
we would open it up so you would do your thing. We would open it up to tours. We have a bunch of people that are going to learn about the organization, so it benefits you, it benefits us, and we're just out there.
It just felt so right in the moment. I just had to do it. Okay, so I apologize. Please take it away.
Yeah, so we'll have to FaceTime and I'll give you like a virtual tour or something. I don't know.
I'll come on a real tour.
Okay, you come on the real tour. So the upcoming event. So again, if you're interested in the organization, you can go on canine.org. Again, it's not K and the number 9, it's CANINE.org/Northeast. It'll list all of our events, our upcoming graduations. Look us up on YouTube. We have some great, amazing videos. If you want us to come out, again, we have a huge volunteer community that will come out and speak at your meeting or, whatever you may have. We just want to get the word out that we're here. Our dogs are free of charge, and that we're here to help. That being said, our next event up is the Salute Independence, where Eileen Shanahan will be one of the award recipients, the top award recipient. That's happening at the Inn at New Hyde Park. She's got her pom-poms.
I don't know how many pom-poms.
On November 9th, you can still purchase tickets. Tickets are $100 per person, and it's going to be wine, buffet dinner, and then a program. Again, Dominic Critelli, 100 years old, is going to be playing the national anthem.
God bless him.
I got to figure out how to get there on that. Deborah, thank you for being here. Deborah McKenzie, running development for Canine Companions. Alex, say goodnight to us. Leave us with anything, and then we'll bring it home.
Oh my, wow. I don't think I've ever had like the open floor like that. First of all, just thank you for having us on your program. I talked a lot about our dogs, but the one thing I want everyone to remember is that our organization is about relationships. Our organization is about partnerships and helping to provide people with disabilities a greater sense of independence. So my job is to create these wonderful partnerships between, the dogs that we love and then the people that we love. So I enjoy my job immensely. And come out when you come out.
Everybody that's listening, go out and tell our tale. You got to TAIL.
Tell our tale, literally. Our tale.
Oh, I love it. We love wordplay on this show. We certainly do.
That was a good one. I've been with Debbie for a very long time. I've never heard that one, Debbie.
There you go.
It might play better in an email, so but we got it. I'm picking up what you're putting down, Mackenzie. Picking it up.
Well, you guys are I'm just going to do it. You guys are awesome. And I just need to mention before we wrap that if anyone out there is interested in sponsoring our show or being a guest, please email me, Valerie, VALERIE @P.A.L. That's PAL -show, not underscore -show.com. And fun fact, I just want to let you guys know, I was actually I had like a little cameo appearance in a documentary about cats, and it was an award winning at all of these film festivals. It won like 9 awards or something like that. So it was very exciting.
We love the other film festival for sure.
You guys are amazing.
We got to do it. So much stuff. We'd love to have you back. I'm coming for the tour. Val, we'll bring you on the FaceTime. I would just want to say goodnight. Who did we have? Deborah McKenzie, Senior Director of Development for Canine Companions since 2006. and Alex Hutchinson, who has been 12 years or more, 13, 14, how many?
19.
19 years. All right.
Wow.
I'm going for my notes. I won't blame anybody but myself on that.
And
19.
we all
No,
started
that
at
was
the
in
age-
your
we all
notes. I
started
read
at
your
the age
notes.
of
My
5.
notes was
Hey, I like that.
my
I
notes.
started when I was 5. Yes.
My notes sort of has like question marks in it. Anyway, look, I leave you all with this, and I got to find the music so we can play the music at the end. This is the Professionals and Animal Lovers show. Valerie, are you ready?
Ready.
The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. Treat everybody good. Treat your animals with
Amen.
passion. Yay, Gandhi. Make it a
Yay,
great.
Gandhi. Woo. Thank you, girls. Thank you,
All right,
ladies.
thank
Thank
you.
you, Tommy
So
D.
much.